I'm literally going to put in the address, 2004 Long Meadow. Now you can do that here, or you can do it up here at the top. You see the search bar at the top. I was taught to do it in Listing Locator, so I cannot break that habit. Once you hit search, it's going to pick up every time that the property has done anything on LBAR. You'll see here that this is when my potential sellers who bought the house from a FSBO bought it last year. They bought it April last year. He is now potentially getting transferred, so that's why we're doing the math on this house. For today's purposes, I am actually going to use this expired because it has photos. Typically, your FSBOs will not have photos. So the first thing I do when I am doing a CMA is I'm going to start a cart. So if you see up here at the top, it says add to cart. I'm going to click add to cart. I'm going to start a new cart, and I'm going to call this one 2004 Long Meadow. And as I actually already had this started, I'm going to give it today's date and add. So did everybody see how I started the cart and added things to the cart? Can you hear me?
Several of them are muted right now, Tom.
Okay, gotcha. Well, one of the things we're going to notice right here, this house is in Madison County and it's in Shiloh Point subdivision. So the next thing I would do when I'm doing a CMA is I'm going to go to searches. I'm going to go to standard search, single family home. Madison County is area 8. And the subdivision is Shiloh Point. And then I'm going to do the active pendings and solds. And I'm going to see what we have here. We have right now 2 active listings, 7 pending listings, and looks like 6 or 7 solds. I know that this house is a little over almost 5,000 square foot. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look down here and I'm going to look for houses that are of that size. Well, I don't see anything near 5,000. The closest one here is 4,300 square foot. So I'm actually going to take a look at it real quick. One of the things I'm looking for, does it have photos? Because we're trying to compare houses. The next thing I'm looking for down here is the square footage broke up. A lot of times you'll have some lazy agents that will just put a total square footage but won't tell you what floors they're on. So I'm looking for that. So I would use this as a good comp. Again, I'm going to add to the cart, and I'm going to add to 2004 Long Meadow, 514. We typically try to use 3 comps. So I'm going to keep going down. I've got another 4,300 square foot home. And again, I'm looking, does it have photos? Yes, it does. Does it have the square footage? No, it doesn't. Well, this really doesn't do me a lot of good because I don't know where that other square footage is. So I'm probably going to shy away from using this house. All right, the next biggest house is Country Oaks. Again, do we have photos? Yes, we do. And the square footage is broke out. And I would like to get one more. All right, I'm going to shy away from new construction since our house is a few years older. let's come down here. We have photos. We do have square footage. So that's going to be our third comparable. Now at this point, I'm going to go to my carts. If you see up here, I just hit the cart button. If you notice, pretty much anything that has an address is something I have either done a CMA for or doing a CMA for. You click on the long metal 514. So we're going to start with our subject home, which is 2004 Long Meadow. And we're going to go through here and take a few notes. I actually have schematics because they did just recently purchase the house. I have the appraiser schematics. The numbers are wrong. They actually finished a bathroom in the basement. So I have new numbers since I sent you the schematics from last time. Right now, I'm just going through photos and I'm going to see, you know, make a little note. So 2004, you know, nice curb appeal. Got a sloping yard. It has a 2-car garage with a pad on an auxiliary garage. Looks like just fairly standard finishes on the house. Nice bank of windows right there at the back. I will tell you the kitchen is nice, but it doesn't have granite. It's not, you know, over the top. You can see it's got cherry cabinets. It's just Formica countertops. It doesn't have granite. So now I'm going to go through our comparables, and we're going to do basically the same thing. We're just going to take some notes using our subject home to compare and contrast. So again, this is 413 Shady Brook. You know, fairly nice curb appeal again. It does have some of the fall stonework and a little bitty small covered front porch. Wow, 82 photos. Sorry, I just looked up. This one has a true 3-car garage. There's the front porch I was mentioning a minute ago. You know, decent finishes. I'm not seeing a lot of crown molding yet. Looks like there's some built-ins there in maybe the formal living room. Nice stonework around the fireplace. Laundry. Bathroom's nice, but it's not, again, over the top. Doesn't look like granite.
I can bring that speaker over here.
It's hard to tell. We can go back and look on the I'll look on the marketing remarks. It might be a stone of some sort. It initially doesn't look like it. And again, you know, it's a nice house. I'm not seeing anything I'd go like, oh my gosh, wow, it's gorgeous. And 82 pictures is a lot, by the way. I don't know that I've even come close to any of my listings having 82 photos. Little storm shelter area. Again, a little bit of a sloping backyard. That's sort of typical for Madison County. I live in Madison County. Standard deck, standard patio under the deck. Does back up the trees. Our subject house has a almost 2-acre lot that has some really nice woods in the back. You didn't get to see that in the photos previously, but all right, looks like they just got a bunch of outdoor. So we're going to go to 500 Upper Hines Creek, and we're going to do the same thing. Here, and I can go back. This house closed in January, so I'm not going to pick on the yard. You know, obviously the curb appeal doesn't look to be as nice, but you know, it was listed probably in the fall and sold in January. Now here we do have some crown molding like the subject house. Nice little backsplash. Double tray ceiling in the master. I don't know if that was wallpaper or what. I'm assuming that was wallpaper. Basement looks nicely finished. Again, same sloping backyard you'll see a lot of times. Looks like they've got a little 3 seasons room here on the back. All right. And then we're going to do our last comparable. Decent curb appeal. I'm not a big fan of a huge tree that close to the front of the house, but that's a personal preference, not a. Nice hardwood floors. I'm fairly certain all of them have hardwood floors, at least on part of the first floor. I don't know if I'm a fan of the black paint or the black chandelier. This is sort of unique. In your eat-in kitchen area, they did a double tray ceiling. I'm assuming this is in the basement. They've got a little bar set up in the basement. maybe they'll give us a better photo. Nice looking kitchen, granite countertops, nice hood vent, range stove outfit. Again, double tray ceilings in the master. Fairly nice, you know, upgraded bathroom. So that is the basement area. So it has the fireplace in the basement. That is a little built-in bar. Looks like it's got a theater room. Notate that it does have drop ceiling versus a finished ceiling. Our subject home has finished ceiling, a smooth finished ceiling versus this drop ceiling. And it has a pool, an in-ground pool. With a little outdoor setup. All right. So I'm going to see if I click. Oh. Did everybody pop up? Can everybody see the uniform appraisal data set definitions?
Yes.
Okay. I love this. This was actually attached to an appraisal I got a few years back, and I use this. This is exactly what the appraisers use when they're doing appraisals of houses. So I'm going to start off. We're going to read 3. The improvements are well maintained and feature limited physical depreciation due to normal wear and tear. Some components, but not every major building component, may be updated or recently rehabilitated. The structure has been well maintained. Note, the improvement is in its first cycle of replacing short-lived building components, appliances, floor coverings, et cetera, and is being well maintained. Its estimated effective age is less than its actual age. It also may reflect a property in which the majority of short-lived building components have been replaced, but not to the level of a complete renovation. Well, as I know the subject home very well, I would consider our subject home a C3. That's a condition 3. Let's read 2. The improvement features no deferred maintenance, little or no physical depreciation, and require no repairs. Virtually all building components are new or have been recently repaired, refinished, or rehabilitated. All outdated components and finishes have been updated and or replaced with components that meet current standards. Dwellings in this category are either almost new or have been recently completely renovated and are similar in condition to new construction. So now I want to go back. Just quickly, looking at the photos again, I'm going to give each one of these homes a condition value. Again, this is a nice home. It doesn't seem to have the crown molding that the subject home has. It does have the fall stone in a couple of places. I wanted to go back. That was the one I wanted to go by. Formal living room. It does not mention that that is granite. In any shape, form, or fashion. So I do not believe this is granite. I believe it, again, it's a very nice looking laminate of some sort from, you know, so I'm going to say this going through 82 photos. I would say that this is a condition 3 as well. Just looking at the photos.
Hey Tom, you're saying granite quite a bit. Does quartz get the same kind of weight as granite because quartz is becoming really popular?
Yes, it does. Any of your stones are about the same. I don't know that when I give value to them, and you're going to see this when we start doing the numbers. Instead of breaking down every component, going, okay, well, oh my gosh, this house had stainless, and that house had black appliances, and this house had granite, and that house had that. That's why we're looking at these conditions. It's an overall condition. I'm hoping to get one of these houses that will be a C2. I don't think any of them are going to be C4s. But yes, ma'am, I absolutely do give credence to any of the stones. Quartz. I'll be honest with you, I'm a huge fan of poured stained concrete. I would say that that's nicer and to me has a better value than just a laminate countertop. The one I'm probably not as keen on personally is you'll see every now and then some slate countertops. And as a former restaurateur, I just think that's nasty because then you've got the little crevices where everything gets caught in it. So that's just a personal thing. I'm not a big fan. I like slate on floors every now and then, but I don't like them on my countertops. You know, this one, just starting off, you see some nice architectural details, the curves. Just like I said, these are judgment calls. Honestly, I could send an appraiser, 10 appraisers to a house, and they might be within a few $1,000s of each other, but I will bet you they'll not be exact. This is the same thing we're doing. This is our opinion. Again, nice crown molding, nice millwork finishes on the woodwork. They did, transoms above the windows here. So I'm leaning on the first few photos of potentially calling this a C2. Even though the house is 16 years old, oops, I goofed. Even though the house is 16 years old, it looks fairly fresh. I mean, I'm loving, like I said, the pass through here. I showed a house yesterday, and that was one of the complaints, that the kitchen area was not open to the living area. And that's one of the things they talked about doing, was maybe doing a pass through. Bear with me, I was trying to see if it mentions any stone. This looks more like stone of some sort. A learning lesson, if it is a stone, put it in your marketing remarks somewhere, because, as I'm going through these photos, it's hard to tell. I personally think it's a stone of some sort. but they only gave us what? 2 photos of the kitchen. Another learning lesson as a listing agent, your kitchen master suite are your 2 focal points when people are looking at photos. I probably would have added at least 2 more photos of the kitchen. When we get to the master, I'll see. So, again, double tray ceiling. The paint looks fresh. Fairly standard bathroom, other than it's got the massive mirror right there, but it's a fairly standard bathroom. A little bit upgraded on the oil rub bronze fixtures. Another personal thing, I can't stand that. That looks like an eye test. You love it, don't you, Melissa? I can tell. Yes, I see your face. I'm going to go ahead and make an executive decision that this is going to be a C2. I think overall the condition is better than our subject home. We'll go through our last house. Again, it's got some nice features. I'd say it's probably the same age. It's a little older, 2000. It's got some nice architectural details. Wow, I'm sorry. The paint's a little bold for me. That's just my personal belief. This is definitely a granite or a stone of some sort. I can just tell by the looks of it. But overall, other than up here, the cabinetry looks a little pretty standard. And another learning lesson as a listing agent, your pictures need to tell a story. It needs to walk you from the entrance through the house. Well, right now we're at number 15 and we're showing the bar in the basement. And then we jump back upstairs. And then here in a minute, we're going to jump back to the basement. So are you telling the story, if that makes any sense? I mean, well, for sake of time, I mean, again, I'm not seeing a lot of crown molding, but I am seeing a lot of nice things. I'm going to fudge a little bit. We're going to call this a C 2.5. I'm going to call it right between a 2 and a 3. And I'll explain here in a little bit why that makes a difference. So the other things that I wanted to show you, the first thing I'm going to show you is a blank CMA form, because I do my CMAs through RPR, Realtor Property Resource. RPR is a CMA on steroids. You can do this by paper. Typically, I'll tell you use a pencil and then write one out in pen, because you're going to be making lots of changes. But I wanted you to see this form because I'm going to show it to you on a computer, and you're going to see it's the exact same form, if that makes any sense. So the next thing I'm going to show you is we have in our towers an approximate contributive value for pricing. This is what I use to price our homes. The next thing, and I hope you might have had a chance to print off, is the RPR booklet. Again, RPR is a wonderful tool. I'm going to show you today the easy way to get to RPR. There are two really easy ways to get there, as you can see right here as it shows, and we'll go back here in a second. Actually, I can do it right now. On L-Bar's home screen, you have a single sign-on. Now, the first time you sign in, you will have to do what this says. You need to know your NERDS number, and you will need to create an account. Once you've created an account, this is what it looks like. It's branded Director Hayden. You can search for all properties. You can search, I've had people give me properties in California, and so far, 98% of the properties show up. Occasionally, there will be some properties that don't show up. I'm going to skip over this section because we're not going to do the mini property report. We're actually going to do a sales comparison valuation, a CMA. So as I said, we could either do it like this. I could click on RPR right now, and I could put the address in, or I can go to my cart, pull up the subject home, and right here is the RPR button. Click that RPR button, and it auto-populates. Oops, now it's going to make me sign in since I haven't signed in for a while. Oops. And it's going to auto-populate some of the information. I can tell you now, as we can see, right now it's got the square footage wrong. So we are going to have to make some adjustments. It does have the last sales price. So from here, if you want to go to our RPR, we're going to do a create. I will tell you, the refine button is good for one thing, and I'll go ahead and show it to you. Again, this information is wrong. Do not change your information here, and I will show you why. I'm just going to make this a 5,000 square foot home and apply changes. I didn't do it this time. Wow, great. Typically, it will shoot this up because it's an algorithm, but today it didn't do that. So I'm very happy to see that it didn't do that. The other thing I like, and this is another report I wanted to show you, Google cost versus value. This report comes out every year. If you sign up for it, next year it'll ask you your opinions on value. The second page goes through what they consider what on remodels and so on and so forth, additions. I want to get down here to the last page. Last page is, up until last year, they used to use Lexington. Well, now the closest town that they use is Louisville. Well, what I'm going to show you here in a minute uses these figures to calculate a remodel. And I've sent this to everybody, but like I said, sign up for it. That way you'll get it next year. But if you're sitting down with a seller and they go, well, Tom, let's see. I did a major kitchen remodel mid-range, and I did that this January. I just now did it, and I spent 25 grand. Watch these numbers over here when I hit add. It adds that value. So this is a great way. If your clients know You know, if they can bring you receipts and say, yes, I did this. Well, let's look at it another way. We're going to do the same remodel, except they did it January of 4 years ago. Same exact money. It prorates it. I love, 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 love this tool. That's about the only thing I recommend you use on this page. I'm glad to see they fixed this, because before this was literally adding value. So if I changed 1,000 square feet, it was going to add 100 grand to the house, because that's the algorithm. All right, so we're going to go back. So we're going to hit create. Always check, and this is tricky, especially, and trust me, 90% of my phone calls on RPR is the report doesn't look like the same report that we had. It looks like you should use comparative analysis, but that's incorrect. You want to use sales comparison analysis. So check this. I'm signed in and I use this enough it doesn't ask me. Typically, it will ask you if you're an appraiser, because this is an appraisal type program. Just hit no, I'm not an appraiser, and it'll let you go. Now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to confirm facts. We now have 5 full bathrooms. I need to change the square footage. So and you need to break these down into above grade and below grade square footage. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm doing the quick math. And then I'm going to add a new row. Unfinished basement, because it does have some unfinished square footage in the basement. And that is okay. I'm going to get rid, I had some comps. Obviously, I did this a few years ago when they purchased the house. So I'm removing my old comps and we're going to put in our new comps. All right. You could do a search. These search programs are just like our L-bar search programs, but the easiest way is to just add a known property. And the even easier way to do that is to take the MLS number, I will tell you, you have to be careful. 3 or 4 other states use the same type numbering system for their MLS numbers. A lot of Western states, I see Montana, Arizona, Nevada quite often. So make certain that you're not adding the wrong house. So we have successfully added our 3 comparables. You hit update valuation and close. And now we're going to adjust our comps. I'm going to go backwards just a little bit, just so we can go ahead and get the square footages and not have to keep coming back and forth. So above grade on 413 is 2690. Below grade finished is 900. And below grade unfinished is 406. And actually, yes. Does everybody see where I got all those numbers? Right here is what I'm looking at. There's your finished square footage. There's your unfinished square footage. I don't typically do the square footages for the regular garage. Some are bigger and some are small, but a 2-car garage is 2-car garage. I've seen 2-car garages where you had to have 2 Priuses. I've seen 2-car garages where you could fit 2 Hummers. But value-wise, relatively, they're the same. So we're going to do the same thing for 500. So above grade, we have 2813. Below grade, we have 1581. And unfinished, we have 375. Last one. Above grade, we have 2071. Below grade, we have 1845. And below grade unfinished is 492. All right. So now we're going to adjust our comps. And we're going to get over here and remember that sheet I showed you earlier? Where you did your calculations? Well, here it is. It's the same exact sheet, just in a computer form. It does not do the math for you. You have to physically do the math yourself, but it is here for you. So we're going to have to go through and change these because, again, this has just got the total square footage. So on 413 Shady Brook, we had 2690. We had 900. And then in unfinished, we had 406. On 500 Upper Hines Creek, again, we're going to do the same thing. 2813. 1581 and 375. Here we had so what I start is I just start on one column and I just go right down the row. And I'm going to make the adjustments as needed. So the first thing I see is that the subject home has one more full bath than the comparable. So I'm going to go back. All right, sorry, I hit something in it. I'm going to go ahead and use the upper range, the 400,000 plus for our comparables, even though some of them that were below 400 grand. I know that our subject home is going to be worth more than 400 grand. So a full bath is worth 10 grand. So I'll go back and I'm adding 10 grand to this house. You never change your subject home. You always change your comparables. Does it make sense? And why I'm adding it in is ours has one better. So I'm making the value equal. Does everybody catch on what I'm saying? Okay. The next thing on our list is the square footage. Again, square footage above grade is 60 to 100. I would say that $85, knowing the subdivision real well, I'm going to choose $85 a square foot, and I'm going to use that for every one of these homes. So at $85 a square foot, we're going to take the 3,064 minus the 2,690, multiply it by 85. So we're going to add 31,790. On here, we're going to take the 1913 minus 900. And our approximate value, I went back as I knew it was $25, but I want to go ahead and go back and show it to you, $25. So multiply that by 25. There is a 0.9 acre difference. And I know that lots in this subdivision sell for about 40 grand an acre. So I'm going to give this about 36 grand value. If that makes any sense, it's not a full acre. So I'm going to give it about 36 grand in value. So I'm going to add 36,000 here. Go back. We have a 2-car garage. And if you'll see here, it says garage square footage. All I'm notating is the number of garages. I don't count auxiliary garages, but I'm going to put a 2 there just so I know that it's a 2-car garage. This home did not have a pool. This home is 3 years older. So again, I'm going to add 3 grand to this house. It's $1,000 a year. And I'll have to go back, sorry. If you look here, we add $1,000 a year or take away $1,000 a year. So I'm going to add $3,000. And then finally, the unfinished part is $20 a square foot, right there, 20 bucks a square foot. And that's another $57.80. At this point in time, that's all the adjustments I'm going to make on this one. I'm going to go to the next house. Oh, I do want to look for one other thing. In this section here, if any closing costs were paid, or if there are any other types of things, other concessions, it will be right here. You always want to make note of that as well. Obviously, if they paid $410 for this house, but they got, let's say, $6,000 in closing costs, well, really, they only paid $404 for it. Does that make sense? So we need to notate that money. In this case, we don't have to worry about it. Oh, one other thing, sorry, I'm gonna flip back to my page. on condition, and I always lose that. So if somebody sees it, yell at me, quality of construction, condition. Our subject home was a C2, and this one was a C2. All right, we're going to go to our next home. Again, it has one less full bath, so we're going to add 10 grand in, but it has one more half bath, so we're going to take away 5 grand. Sorry, I hit my button up here again. Let me go away. See the 5 and 10 here? That's where those figures are coming from. We're going to do our square footage again. Now this home has a 1.7 acre lot. I'm going to consider that close enough. There's not enough money worth making a difference there. I do want to confirm that it does have a 2-car garage, because one of these houses had a 3-car garage. No, 2-car attached. This one did not have the pool. Am I correct? No. This one had the in-ground pool. Yeah, it did. Okay. So yes. Yes, an in-ground pool. And we come down here. Pool in-ground is worth 10 grand. Oops. Sorry, wrong page. So what do I do? What am I doing with that 10 grand? If the comp is better than the subject home, what am I doing?
Negative.
Adding in.
Comp
There.
better. If the comp is better, you subtract, right?
Correct.
Oh, subtract.
And then if the subject is better, you add.
Correct. They're the same age, so there's no difference there. And then I got to do my last little bit of math down here. Now I'm going to go to my next house. And this one, we're going to get a pretty good difference here. We have 2 full baths difference. So how much is that?
20,000.
There we go. But we have a half bath, so what do we take off?
5.
There we go. And I hope I'm taking it off, because right now your all's photos are in front of it, so I can't see it real well. Sorry if I'm being quiet. Might be one of the few times you don't hear me speak. This one only has an acre lot. Again, lots are selling for about 40 grand an acre, so I'm going to put another $36,000 in there. This one, is this the one that had the 3-car garage? Because one of y'all had a 3-car garage. No? Oh, I'm on the wrong house, no wonder. No, I could have sworn I'm in a 3-car garage, but I guess I'm losing my mind. All right. No pool. This one is 4 years older. Okay. Nope, I goofed. There we go. I took it in the wrong spot. I just added like 400 grand to this house. So if you see down here, this has already done our math for us. It's telling us that right now, our subject home, without making any other adjustments, is worth $470 or $487,900. The only thing I haven't finished is we had the condition. 413 we said was, hang on, I got it wrong. 413 we said was a condition. I'm sorry, I got it totally backwards, isn't I? Our subject home is condition 3. 413 was a condition 3. 500 was a condition 2. And then we said this was a 2.5. So what I typically do on a condition is typically 10 grand. Now, obviously that's going to vary. If we're looking at a $1 million house, a condition 2 versus condition 3 may go up. It might be 40 grand. Vice versa, if we're looking at a $100,000 house, it might be only just a few $1,000s, not 10 grand. For this sake, a $400 and some thousand house, I think a 10 grand difference makes sense. So what I'm going to do here is I'm taking away that 10 grand. What I'm going to do here, because I'm calling this a 2.5. We don't have a 2.5, but that's what we're calling it. We're going to take 5 grand. We're going to split it right in the middle. And then I'm going to notate down here and you can write any notes. You can keep adding. If I needed to add something else, actually 413 did have a small covered front porch. So we do not. We're just going to go back and look at them just to make, 100% certain of what we have and what we don't have. We do not have a small covered front porch. So we're no. They're a yes. And I'm fairly certain, excuse me again as I keep hitting buttons, Covered spring porch would be $2,500. So what am I doing right here? Am I adding or taking away?
Adding.
Taken away. The subject's
Which one?
better, so,
taken
no,
away.
add. Wait a minute, subject's better, so add to the comp.
No, the subject's worse.
All right, comp better, so
Take away.
subtract. Yeah,
The comp is better, so we take away.
right.
And I've hit something over here. I don't know what I hit, but I changed a number. Oh, that's when I added the other $5,000. Okay. Now we'll just go look. We know that 413 had a covered front porch. This one does not, or not, you know, a stoop is what it has. And I don't think this one did either. Of course, that's not the greatest photo in the world, but I don't think it has. So at the end of the day, we're saying our subject home is worth $482,100. Again, I could probably go through here, but I don't want to keep you the full 2 hours today. Does anybody have any questions at this point in time?
So sometimes when you walk into these houses, they'll have a little door, like in one of the rooms, especially a story and a half, and you go out and they've got this beautiful unfinished attic storage space. Do we ever count that?
Yes, depending.
Okay.
This is where the part of the class y'all didn't get today that we typically do is Ethan Waterbury, our in-house appraiser and agent, his wife is an agent as well, Lucy. We would normally measure the house together, and I would typically try to find a house that has that. There are some prerequisites as to whether you consider that unfinished. It's unfinished space. Is it conforming or non-conforming? So on and so forth. If it is conforming unfinished space, then I would add a line down here that says second floor unfinished storage. The prerequisite is they have to have a 7-foot ceiling, and it has to be more than 50% of the room. So you would take out like knee walls and stuff like that, anything shorter. I'd rather let Ethan explain that one to you than me. But yes, you would, you know, if there's extra storage and it is a value, and obviously it would be a value, then you want to make certain that you're making adjustments for that.
Okay, because I didn't see that on the pricing sheet. I see the under. Would it be using the same as the?
Basically, yeah, I would just
Okay.
use the same figure as unfinished. Unfinished is unfinished, if that makes any sense.
Yep, it does. Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions? Because I'm going to show you what RPR actually looks like here in a second. You want me to keep
What about
going?
the screen porch? The screen
Say it again.
sunroom or the screen porch? Do you add that?
Oh, the sunroom we had on the other house, there is.
I'm just asking, like, do you add that or no?
Yes, you would. You would measure that. You would make sure to measure that. And again, we have a screen porch. That's going to be subjective. It's not on this list. I would sit here and go say, I've got $1,500 for a deck, and I've got $2,500 for a screened porch. So somewhere in that neighborhood, what's my value? I would say probably that 2,500 is pretty close to it in this price range. But yes, ma'am. Anything that adds value, or vice versa, anything that takes value away, you would want to make an adjustment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions before I finish our report?
Yeah, I have one. I wanted to know for an extra room to be counted as a bedroom, is it required to have a closet in there or
No,
no?
ma'am. No, ma'am. Um, that's a misnomer. The only requirement, and Ethan will tell you the same thing, and it depends. Okay. No, it does not have a closet.
Okay.
And that the reason you go back is we sell properties that go back to the 1700s. Well, in the 1700s, they didn't have closets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all had big vanities and so on and so forth. So how can you say, well, that's not a bedroom, it doesn't have a closet? That's what it's used for. So when Ethan teaches his part of the class, and hopefully y'all will get that at some point in time once the crazy COVIDness is over, if it's typical for that subdivision that those rooms are considered bedrooms, whether they have closets or not, then you call it a bedroom. The only requirement that I consider to be a bedroom is it has to have egress. And again, Ethan will tell you differently. Are you familiar with Southland? The homes over in Southland?
No.
Okay. The homes in Southland have basements. They were built in the 40s and 50s. They have basements, but they basically have a window in that basement room that's not even a foot tall. Okay. It's standard for that subdivision for everybody to call those bedrooms. I would disagree somewhat. Now, again, if I'm selling a house over there, okay, I would probably call it a bedroom because everybody else calls it a bedroom. The only thing I will say that has to have a bedroom is a bedroom has to have egress. The definition of egress is, could a fireman in his full pack carry you out? If a fireman cannot carry you out of that window and they have a full pack on, then, it's not a bedroom. It's a bonus room at that point in time. You can call it a bonus room that can be used as a bedroom. There's no law against that.
Mm-hmm.
But Unita, it's hard because, like I said, if I'm in a subdivision where the basements are like Southland and they only have a 1-foot window, but everybody else calls it a basement, then I'm going to call it a basement. Or a bedroom, excuse me. I'm going to call it a bedroom. Now, if let's say somebody finished a basement out over in, I don't know, something over there in the Hamburg area.
Mm-hmm.
The newer homes that have been built since 2000, but they have a room in the basement with a 1-foot window. That's not a bedroom. That's a bonus room. Because every other house would have full window typically in that bedroom. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. What if your room, that extra room, was in a very tall house in the attic where there were windows and there were stairs going up and it had a closet?
Does the actual room have a window?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It has a few.
Okay. Then I would say that yes.
So it's a tall house with windows, and like 2 or 3 of the windows you can actually open. So would that be a bedroom or no?
I would say yes if everybody else's house is the same.
Okay. I don't think in that subdivision all the houses are that tall.
Okay. It might be a situation that if you want to send me a photo or if you want to ask Ethan, Ethan, you can look up Ethan either through Elbar or through Rector Hayden and ask him.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to. I mean, it's hard for me to go right here sight unseen. Yeah, I would call it a bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm leaning yes, call it a bedroom because it has egress.
Mm-hmm.
I see Kim's got an assistant. Hi, Kim's assistant.
You say hi.
Hi.
Reagan, hello.
She likes that she can see everybody and they can see her.
Hi, Reagan.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to update and close. Now we're going to create a report. And this is where we get to the CMA on steroids. We're doing a valuation workbook. I'm going to click more details. And down here at the bottom, I'm going to make sure that these suppresses are marked. If you get over here in the RPR, that's one of the last things I say.
Turn around.
Is when you run the report, make sure you suppress those.
No, don't touch the computer.
And I'll show you why I'm going to run one report with them suppressed and one report
No,
without them
no,
suppressed to show you the difference.
no.
So I'm suppressing them. And we're going to make this Mr. and Mrs. Home Seller. And, you know, write something. Here's my price valuation on your house. Why did I call it a house, not a home?
Stop.
Anybody know? Why do you call it a house, not a home?
To make it less personal?
There you go. You sell houses, you buy homes. If you start calling it a home, your potential seller might start thinking, well, why do I want to leave my home? Call it a house, it's a little less personal. Just a little. So I'm going to get up here, come down here, sorry, and run reports. You can email these. I don't typically recommend you email them straight to a client because this is something you want to present to them. You'll see here in a second. So I'm going to run this report. Obviously, I've got the sound. It plays the Jeopardy theme, so to speak. And then if you look as the report's running, it's got up here. If it's yellow, it's finishing it up. Once out of every 100, you'll get a red fail. I've never figured out why, because I can run the report again and it runs perfectly. As you can see here, I did one recently here in Versailles. Once it turns blue, it's complete. Tiffany, you want to come dog sit?
Pretty sure I have enough of my own.
No. Don't you want to relieve Terry and look?
Are you guys struggling with your puppies?
She is.
Really?
She is. Well,
Regrets on
You know,
getting two newbies?
she's working from home,
Hmm.
and I think that has a lot to do with it. Is she's around them 24 hours a day.
Hmm.
And you know, we're dealing with a puppy phase.
Right. Is the outdoor puppy playpen not working?
It is. It's just they're a handful. You know, you've heard me say that. I mean, I love them. Obviously, I love them, but they're a handful.
So
Somebody
am
just
I,
typed
and they're
something.
adults.
Somebody just typed something I couldn't see. Can you see the comments?
The chats?
Yeah.
They're right now. They're discussing certifications.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll answer that next. I've got the most available, so here's our report for Longmeadow. We just now printed out, or just now compiled a 45-page report that I can present to my seller. Now, that's going to look a heck of a lot nicer than the handwritten piece of paper. It'll generate an auto-generated photo, typically from a previous listing. It will tell us that this is what we said this house is worth. It will come down here. It'll show you where we made our changes. Anything that's blue highlighted is a change. I'm skipping over a lot of the information. It'll show us if it's in a flood zone. This is an updated FEMA map if you ever wanted to use it. It shows us how close these other homes are to our subject home. It will show where we made our adjustments. And then it will have photos of the other homes. Again, to me, this is a very impressive report. I forgot to make an adjustment for that, but it's a very impressive report that you can give to your potential sellers. I do these sometimes for buyers, just, you know, if they wanted some sort of nice, and then here's all sorts of data. What I typically recommend is print everything off. And then if you know your clients, obviously you're gonna know them better than I would. If you're working with somebody that's just gonna, I mean, not gonna care about any of this information, pull it out. If you're working with an engineer who wants every bit of information in the world, print all 45 pages out and let them have it. I'm gonna tell you at the end of the day, the only page you're concerned about is that right there, number 2. Now I want to run this for you again, but I'm not going to suppress. So just for your benefit, pay attention to this page 2 right here, and then see what the next page 2 is going to look like when I don't suppress that information. Sorry. Any questions? Any comments?
Bueller.
Bueller? Well, it looks like I'm getting us out a half hour early, so that's a good thing. Must be a lot of people running reports. The longer it takes, the more people are running reports. Aha, there we go. So the only difference is going to be page 2. Page 2 is I hate. See this now, this new information that wasn't on page 2 last time? This is what we suppressed. This is their algorithm. Before we ever started making any adjustments, their algorithm said this house is worth $447. This is basically, that's the median of those 2 numbers. Well, if I'm working with a seller is that seller going to see that 482, or are they going to see that 505? Which one do you think they want to sell for? Yeah. Or vice versa, if I'm working with a buyer, are they going to see it's worth 482, or are they going to see it's worth 389? This is why you want to suppress this. This is, I mean, so just make certain that if you ever do this report, suppress when you need to. And again, you've got the booklet that will tell you what you need to suppress. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of my class. Questions, comments?
Where can I download this RPR booklet that you were referring to?
I emailed it to you, I thought. Would you like me to email it to you again?
It
No,
came to
not-
me first thing this morning.
Not where it says like how much to take off the price and all that, like adjustments. Like
Or
This
the
sheet,
yeah, this one. Yeah, this one.
I emailed it to you this morning.
This one too. Oh, I thought I only got the RPR.
I think that sheet came last week sometime from an
Oh,
email from him.
That sheet came on 5/6 at 9:10 a.m.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's like a
You're
total
welcome.
of 6 sheets in there, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a whole packet.
There's everything we use today, I sent to you twice. I sent it last week and I sent it this morning.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys, if that's it, I thank you all so very much. Hope I didn't bore you too much.
great class. Thank you so much. A lot of
You're
good information.
And again, my number's on my email address. Please, please, please call me if you have questions. I love to help. I've got to do 2 more of these probably in the next week. So if you wanted to come to Georgetown, we can sit at the opposite ends of tables and social distance, and we can go through it together. This is something that you're going to have to get used to. I always tell everybody, obviously I manage 20 other agents. Practice, do your own home. Run comps on your own home. You know, run comps on your neighbor's home. I mean, whatever you need to do, practice, practice, practice. This was not easy for me when I started. I can do one of these in 20 minutes now. If I'm not teaching it, I can do it in 20 minutes.
That's what I was gonna ask. We can get out there and play with it. We're not gonna hurt anything if we just
No,
delete.
you're not going to blow a computer up. You're not going to blow anything up. Play around, get used to it. You know, take the paper copy out. Take that paper copy out, write your numbers down on it, put them in the computer. They better match at the end of the day. But, you know, play around with it. And I'm please, oh, please, call me if you have any questions. ePro is easier, but PSA is really nice. That pricing strategy is very nice. As I said, as of today, I've got 12. I've got the APR, the BPR, ePro, GRI, MRP, NHC, PSA, RENE, SFR, SRES, and SRS.
So just for anybody who's looking at taking the certification for the PSA, I took it and I passed it, but you have to do 2 CMAs to get your certification, and you have to do them by hand.
Yes,
It was worth it though.
it is. I think ePro is free.
They're offering several free things right now. And then
Yeah.
you just have to pay for the registration.
ePro is free and the PSA is half off.
Okay, that's what I
I think
thought.
I got the PSA for free too, Melissa, because I signed up for 3 different things and all 3 of them were free.
You could getting the ePro is free, but to actually join the ePro community is half off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you still have to pay something.
Yeah, some of them are yearly fees, some of them are one-time fees. I took all these. I haven't taken a class in 2 years, or like a class like that in 2 years. I have 3 more I'd like to have that I may not get to. I'd like to have the relocation one. I'd love to have the international relocation one because then I could write off my vacations. Because I know somebody that's done that. She got her international relocation professional, went to Jamaica, viewed the hotel. Do y'all familiar with the Tom Cruise movie, The Firm? Okay. If you saw the movie The Firm, the condo, townhome type places they stayed at, she viewed those, and because she viewed property, she wrote her vacation off. So just food for thought. All right, guys. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.